All right, here we are. Thank you for joining us here. If you're here or out there in YouTube land, super excited to see you. We're going to not spend too much time on preamble here. I just would like to acknowledge that we are here on the unceded traditional territory of the Comox First Nation. I'm going to turn off that so I can hear myself. And we are here from the traditional territory of the Comox First Nation on land they shared with the Iksan and Pentlatch peoples. And we're very grateful for the collaboration and opportunity to live, work, and play in the forests, rivers, and beaches of the lands that belong to them. I also like to thank the BC Arts Council and the province of BC for supporting these professional development opportunities for artists. And with no further ado, I bring to you Helen Austin and Paul Otten.
Oh, hello.
Sorry,
I like to do the turn, and I was just minding my own business. And
I was trying to share it on Facebook. I wasn't sure if it was happening on Facebook and YouTube, so I've shared it via YouTube to Facebook on my Facebook page. Oh man, there's too many social media things.
yeah.
Anyway, hello everybody.
Hello. So, do we see questions in the comments, or are we just kind of
Well, I think that's
private chat?
Yeah, in the private chat. So anybody commenting on YouTube or Facebook it will come through to us here directly on StreamYard, which is a handy dandy tool to be a DIY musician, which is what we're talking about today. Do you see that segue there, Paul? It's like super smooth.
So, guess what I was doing today?
What were you doing today?
More music for film and TV.
Wait. That was last time. That's old news.
Lots
Paul's
of instrumental
had a lot
bits.
of placements recently. He's like the placement king. The rest of us in placement land are getting.
Yeah, but kings get dethroned.
Yeah, I know.
Quickly.
Ethan and I, we're out for blood.
I know.
So yeah, do ask us your questions about, because we do pretty much everything in house.
Yes.
Don't we? Before all this, we had managers doing stuff with touring, but obviously that is not a thing right now.
It's not.
So
We're self-sufficient, though.
we are.
And
My
thankfully,
mic is
we
really
are.
low. Hang on, shall I just get closer to it?
Yeah, I couldn't tell if it was just my feed or you're a little low.
Okay, is that better?
That's better. Much better.
Okay, I like to be loud. I like to be louder than Paul.
Yeah, so going totally DIY from the start, we didn't realize how great of a decision it would be. But not just because of the pandemic, but even, just recording costs. Because we would send out a lot of our albums that be mastered in LA, and that's a cost, that's a fee. But if you add in studio time on top of that, I did an album in 2003 that was $12,000 total. Yeah, can you imagine?
That was like, yeah.
That was a full
So that's
album,
that's why I always encourage people to, if they can. It's pretty easy to have a setup these days where you can record yourself. It's just a matter of getting good at it. I know that sounds really simple, just getting good at it. But I figure if Paul and I can do it from scratch, I can't produce to the standard that Paul can, because I've got arrested development in that. Because as soon as I left Paul, I stopped producing most of my own stuff. But yeah, if we could do it from scratch and neither of us have any training in it, then I think anyone with musical ability and desire. So what is step one if someone wants to do more than play to themselves in their bedroom? And this is obviously discounting go to a jam, go to a coffee shop, because that's out the window right now.
Yeah.
Step one, Paul.
Step one. Well, I guess, I struck out solo. I was in bands in the 90s and stuff, and I just decided that, hey, why don't I just try going out solo and playing some gigs? And it's tough to go, because literally I was in my bedroom. Like, I would play through the songs I was already doing with the band. I'm like, well, this kind of sounds good by itself. And then you just have to reach out to, in normal times, you have to reach out to bar owners or whatever. And open mics are a good way to kind of just get your I guess, your sea legs on the stage in front of people if you haven't had much experience playing in front of people. So I guess step one would be an open mic jam.
Yeah, I mean,
something.
especially 'cause, I mean, a lot of people, anybody, because this is run by the Comox Valley Arts Council, so it's definitely in here in town when in normal times. In the before times, there were tons of jams, and with so much different ability that it was fairly safe place to turn up and just try stuff out. And people had a lot of time and patience for someone that was new doing it. There was a lot of encouragement. So that. Yeah, that in normal times, that would be the way to do it. But in these times...
yeah. I mean, I guess it's a good time to practice. And
you could always try Facebook Live just to kind of, start it.
Yeah, I mean, you are playing live. You're playing to a screen, but there's still, like I said in our last episode, I think, in some of these, maybe it was Focalines, but... Somebody asked, how is it playing these online concerts? And, there's still that kind of juice running through you because, it's one shot, you're playing and there's people out there listening. So there's still an adrenaline rush. And so I think it's probably a good time to practice for being a performer when you can go back to live. So.
I just had an idea of it would make because we're doing this here from different places and we're doing it via StreamYard, which I mentioned. So if you were feeling a little vulnerable just doing Facebook Live on your own, you could get together with a friend and do a song swap maybe. So you both, say this is a really easy tool to use, and you can go straight to Facebook or YouTube and Twitter if you really want to, and you could do a song swap and do it that way.
Yeah, and the beauty of that, too, is you don't have to play very long. If you are only comfortable playing 2 songs, you can go on Facebook Live for 2 songs. Hey, I'm just starting out, and, here's a couple songs that I know. And then gradually build up to more if you're liking it. So. And
then if you hate what you've done, you don't have to leave it up there. You can delete it. We leave our concerts up, but, some people delete them. So I think it's a fairly safe space to do it because you kind of don't know who's watching, so you're not having to look at people's faces. You don't have that worry, but you've still got the
comments. There are comments that you might have comments that aren't great, but you got to take the good with the bad. But that also kind of can build up your thick skin a little bit.
And also, if you're doing it on Facebook, it depends what setting. If you got it just to your friends, then you hopefully will be around. It'll just be for people who are supportive. Yeah. And if you're feeling a bit brave, you can put it out to everybody.
And it's good to have those hecklers too. Playing for years in bars and stuff, I got used to that, and you learn how to. And Helen was a comedian, so you learn how to deal with. You learn how to deal with the negative and let it roll off your back eventually.
But I think it's a way of just getting started. I think, if we can't go to jams or open mics, why not? Because it's a way of, you have to play it all the way, the song all the way through. You can't no going back and correcting mistakes, and that's a good way to practice. Getting through a whole song.
And right now, I mean, if there's any time to just practice and practice, because nobody else is out there taking your spot at a live gig either. So.
That's true.
Practice as long as you can through this until things open up, and then who knows, by the time things open up, you'd be pretty gig ready.
Yeah, but there's nothing like actually playing. It's you can practice until you play in front of people, and that's why I suggest the Facebook Live, because it's still you need you need to be able to play with adrenaline because it changes things.
Yeah. So, have you noticed, Helen, if we get better viewership?
I think we get more on Facebook just because I'm more active on Facebook. I'm not that. I mean, we put stuff on YouTube and we have a lot of followers on YouTube, but I'm not as active on there as because I do the social media. When I say I mean Big Little Lines, because I do the social media side of Big Little Lines. I think Facebook is better for us. So when you feel ready to record your first or 500th song, what do you need at home to do that?
A computer, a reliable one. and a DAW. I can't remember, digital audio workstation.
I wish I could show it from here. I can't.
I use Helen and I use Logic Pro.
Hang on, I'm going to show you what a DAW. Oh, a DAW. Oh no, not the DAW. I'm thinking interface. See,
GarageBand is a DAW that comes free with any Mac, and that's what I learned on. There are others, obviously, that are eluding me right now. Their names because I never use them.
Cubase, Pro Tools.
Pro Tools is a big one, but I had a Mac when I started, and I had GarageBand, and I started on that, so I just leapt to Logic Pro because it was a Mac product, and it was pretty seamless in some ways going from GarageBand to Logic. So yeah, you need a DAW, you need an interface like Helen was looking for. That's what I was going to show you. I was going to show you mine. So you need something that can transfer your analog mics and stuff like that into digital. So it hooks up USB into your computer. You went muted, Helen. You're muted. And goes into USB into your computer, and then you can record away. And you can also have a keyboard with MIDI and or USB. A lot of them have USB outputs, so you can send that directly into your computer. So that's pretty much what you need. And a decent microphone. This is a Shure SM7 for vocals, but there you are. You're back. And
I'm back. I unplugged something came out the back of my computer while I was doing that.
And an SM58 is just fine. SM57. You don't have to. I know it can be daunting, so it's like, oh, I got to get a DAW, and that's money, and an interface, and I got to get these nice microphones, and literally when I started recording on GarageBand, my studio monitor setup was a home stereo system I had, and I had speakers about that big that were my monitors, and that's how I started. But things seemed to turn out fine.
I think GarageBand. A lot of us start with GarageBand, and I don't even remember having an interface. I must have had an interface.
Yeah,
because USB mics weren't a big thing then, were they?
No, I think I had a USB mic once, and then I sold it.
Right.
Because I just didn't need it. But they are good now. They're a lot better,
they're really good
now,
now
than they used to be.
So yeah, so the DAW is the GarageBand, Logic, whatever, whichever.
Pro Tools.
It's the program on your computer that you record on. And then you have the interface which takes the mic signal and puts it in and transfers it into a digital signal on the program on your computer, and that's kind of all you need.
Yeah, and I mean, in a way, I learned a lot too about recording from doing my album back in 2003. I worked with a local Cincinnati guy that produced it, and I would go to his house. That's where we recorded, in his basement, every day pretty much while we were recording, and I would just sit there and after I record, I would watch him putting things together. And I mean, that was 2003. I think I can't remember even what program he was running, but it was still a lot of the basics of editing and cutting and pasting. So I just kind of watched him, and that gave me a basis for moving on to recording myself. So, if you are going to a studio, just watch the engineer and kind of take notes and notice what he does with the DAW and things like that. So, and learn keyboard shortcuts. Learn them. They will save you so much time.
There was one keyboard shortcut. Paul and I have exchanged, because we're not very good at reading manuals, either of us. So there's one where you hit R for record, and then if you don't like what you've done, you hit R again. And Paul wasn't aware of that one, so I felt like I could impart some. Anyway, it saves so much time.
Yes. Any brands you recommend? Well, Apple.
You have
Logic Pro, gear.
What do you? What's your interface? You got
my
Focusrite?
Interface. Yes. Scarlett.
You got Scarlett. I've got an Apollo Twin, which is it's an expensive one because my husband likes researching gear, and convinced me it was. But I think they're all. I mean, because yours is around about the 200 mark, isn't it? For for something like a Focusrite Scarlett.
And my monitors, I've had them for, geez, probably over 10 years. And they're Sampson Studio monitors I got a long time ago. I don't think they were super expensive. They're nice, though. They sound good.
The first ones sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say the first ones I got were Yorkville ones because that's a Canadian company, and they were I just got them from Sound Advice in Town, now Long McQuade. So then I won some really nice ones in a competition.
Yeah, I mean, get a condenser mic. I'm looking for mine. I got one.
Well, this is here's a condenser mic.
Yeah, that's
in front of you.
Mic. This one right here is.
Oh, that sort of condenser mic.
Well, this one too. This is a Shure and SM137, and it wasn't super expensive, but it's great on guitars and like instruments and stuff. I think it was a couple $100, and this SM7 was $300 or something bucks, which is a price tag, but it's great for vocals. So.
Well, the one I use, and I tried a blue mic for a while, which I bought a really expensive mic, and I didn't like it as much. I've got a Studio Projects B1, which at the time was $120. I think they're not much more than that now, and for my vocal, it just worked better than anything else I tried. Oh, I would really like to try the SM7 that you've got.
It was Michael Jackson's microphone.
Oh, was it?
And I think
Paul and I we're not really gearheads. Like, you get people
No.
who just want to talk about gear, and that's a whole other thing. So it can be overwhelming, but we are not gearheads. We don't like constantly buy new stuff just because it's the new cool thing.
Yeah, plugins are considered gear as well. So those are programs like for mixing, like compression, reverb, drum samples. But, you know, you get something like Logic, and there's so much in the box meaning that comes with the program. So sounds that, you know, pianos, keyboards, drums.
But even GarageBand has when you start, I would start with GarageBand. I wouldn't go straight into Logic because Logic can be overwhelming.
I didn't read the manual for Logic because she said a lot of those DAWs can be intimidating. And yes, when I first got Logic, I was like, holy moly, look at this manual. So I didn't even read the manual. I opened it up and just started using it, and a lot of the basics were like GarageBand, so that helped me. And then I've learned tricks and stuff over the years. And
well, it's so easy. You just go to, like, if I want to find something now, and I do the same. I'll talk about this later with making videos in Final Cut Pro. I now just Google how to blah 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 in blah blah blah, and there's always a YouTube video going, "I'm going to tell you how to blah 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 in the blah blah blah."
Yeah. So if you are interested in using Logic Pro, this guy has a website that I found like a year or so ago. It's Sorry, my voice is cracked. whylogicprorules.com. And
I'll put that in the.
Yeah, put that in because
I can't. I'm not in charge of this. Kira, if you
why, and that's spelled out. WHY, LogicPro Rules, RULES.com. And I don't know, I don't remember how I found it, but he's got a lot of great tips because he shows you all the things that you can do just using Logic and not spending money on external plugins and stuff. And it's like, I found out, I mean, Melodyne is a thing that a lot of us use, and their flex pitch in Logic Pro has gotten so much better that
so good.
You don't even need Melodyne anymore.
No, I haven't used it since you told me about it. I didn't even know it was there. See, we should have probably read the manual. We would have known so much.
Well, these are things that it would tell you about, but the quality of use, how good it works, and how interactive it is, it doesn't tell you that in a manual. So you need somebody like that guy on the website, that he's really kind of worked things out. So, I mean, he does videos, so you watch his videos. I mean, you don't have to, but that's where I've found a lot of tips lately over the past year or so. So,
yeah, everything's pretty much out there if you Google it.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's the beauty of today.
It is. No encyclopedias for us. So yeah, nice. So that's a basic setup mic interface. Program. Calling it a DAW is like, I mean, that's the official word, but it's the program.
If you made a recording, then what?
Well,
then you put it on a shelf and move. No.
Well, first of all, while you're making the recording, that's the time to start comparing it to other things in the same style to see if it's what they call broadcast quality. And so, you want, if you're going to be wanting to put this out there to compete with all the other music that's out there, it's got to be of the same standard. And you can do that in simple terms. I mean, you could do what Paul does, which is, he can do the drums and bass and all that stuff, and has learned how to mix and make it sound good. And then you've got somebody like me who I know I can do the simple stuff well, but I can't do the complicated stuff. So or the busy stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, I know I'm touting Logic Pro because I use it, but they even it includes, I don't know what the latest version, because I haven't updated because it's scary to do that. But the version I have comes with a fully mixed song with all the tracks of a Beck song. So he recorded on Logic Pro, and it gives you all the tracks that he used, and it's like you can mix it and mess with it, and you could see the settings and what kind of sounds he used, and it's pretty cool. I can't remember who was the latest one, but they've been including that. I don't know for how long, but I think I read that on maybe with that website, whylogicprorules.com. I had no idea, but you can look in templates and you'll see Beck, whatever the song is.
That is really cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty cool in seeing all the tracks that they use. Like, I don't use
How many tracks are on that Beck track?
Oh my. I mean, it's just, and a lot of them are combined too. Like, there's combining of tracks that you can do that you can do track stacks and stuff like that. I don't even do that.
No, I don't.
I keep our stuff pretty simple. We have a lot more vocal tracks than anything else.
But we've got some pretty big tracks with a lot going on in them, and this is where there's some you've got some mastering tools in Logic which are really useful, because trying to set all the levels so nothing's feeding back, if you just for a quick shortcut, I find that's a good way of just making sure everything sounds good, and then I end up mixing within that. I don't think that's the right way of going about it, but it works for me, so I do it.
Yeah. I mean, and plugins, as far as if we're going back to gear, that I could recommend that I have are Ivory, upright pianos.
Yeah, I'm not loving the pianos. I went to them the other day because we're doing a concert next week, and I got to play piano on it, and I wasn't loving the Logic.
They're okay.
Pianos.
I mean,
they're okay.
But Ivory's got some really great upright pianos. I think like Fiona Apple used it on her last album.
Oh, I might have to get that.
And Addictive Audio, they have some good keyboards and drums and stuff like that. And Trillion has great upright basses. Like, if you don't have access to a real upright bass player, it's pretty wild. Trillion is that. So, and then Ozone Imager, I got that for my mastering because it just opens things up and spreads things out. You can put that effect on there. So, and other than that, I've got a Mellotron plug-in, but now that was before Logic came with a Mellotron. Like, their update after that came with Mellotron sounds, which a Mellotron is like, I think the first version of synthesizers.
Yeah, the tapes
back in
going
the
around.
Beatles used them and stuff like that. So there's some cool sounds you can get with that. But now, like I said, now that Logic includes that, so they have that stuff.
I don't know how much is Logic these days. It's still a couple of $100.
I think it's like $200.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And then the updates are free. Upgrades are free.
Yeah.
As soon as you buy it the first time, it's.
So how many layers of tracks or samples I mean, as many as you like, as long as you can keep them in control and mix them well. Because I heard a great thing once which really helped me when I was producing on my own, was because you expect to know all the frequencies, and you think you need to be schooled in this, and somebody said, well, does it sound good? That's ultimately what you want. So
yeah,
it really is, does it sound good? When you A/B it against something else in a similar vein, does it sound good? And then and then that's when your ear comes into it. If you don't have the knowledge, which neither of us have, of the kind of what frequency you should be where, you're just using your ear to go, what do I want it to sound like? You know, how can I get like does the guitar need to be crisper? Does the vocal need to be more out front? Playing around with panning, reverb, all of that stuff. It's just it's figuring out what sounds good to you.
Yeah, as long as there's never too many layers. But I tell you a tip of the day.
Top tip.
When I do record when I'm using MIDI, I always bounce them down as a WAV file and then reload them back in and then delete save a new version, number 2,
so I'm
number
going to
3.
say that again.
So say I record a piano track on MIDI. I finish it, then I bounce it down to WAV.
Oh,
and then I drag it back in the project, and then I save as the Way Home version, Way Home 2, and then I delete that piano track, MIDI track, and in the finished product, it's all just WAV files in there. I don't have.
Do you
MIDI.
think that makes a difference?
I think it makes it run a little bit smoother.
Oh,
because some of the MIDI plugins that they have I feel like they slow down the project.
Having a fast computer. I mean, my computer's getting pretty old now, but it's still handling stuff. My husband, who's a software guy, said the new ones are just lightning fast. But if you've got an older computer, stuff might, the more tracks you got, obviously, the more you're making your machine work.
Yeah,
so that's
and
something to look
always
out for.
have backup hard drive.
Yes.
And they're so cheap now. I mean, you can get 2 terabytes or something ridiculous for like under $100.
Yeah. So back up everything. I mean, yeah.
Back it up.
Back it up.
Yeah, and you don't have to use MIDI. Like
it's
do
fun
a
to
lot of
play
live
around
stuff,
with, though.
Yeah, there's so many good sounds now that you can get away with it. But if you're a purist, it's just a couple good mics and well played.
Oh, you don't even need a couple of mics if you're doing things separately. If you're not recording things at the same time. I mean, yeah. Unless sometimes I would record the guitar on 2 different mics just to have. So again, you've got more to play with. I don't do it anymore. I used to all the time. I don't know where I learnt that, but I stopped because there was too much going on. And it didn't.
One more piece of gear. I can't show it to you because it's too hard to pick. It would probably tip. I have a tube mic. It's an Aventone red tube mic. I think it's Russian made, but it was like $500, and it's modeled after the really expensive ones, which are thousands of dollars.
So what's the difference in sound with that?
It's like a warmer sound. I use it on all the acoustic guitars.
Oh, cool. I
mean, actually, that mic, Taylor Swift used to use it on her vocals. So it's a good vocal mic, too. I just don't. I have this SM7, and it doesn't pick up as much external noise as the tube mic. But the tube mic's great in the studio. It's not very mobile.
Do you still have to warm them up?
This has a box. You plug it
into
Because
I used to have a
box,
tube mic that.
And then you have to turn on the box and power it up.
Yeah, and it has to warm up for a bit, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't take that long.
Well, this was years ago I had one, so maybe that's a different thing.
Panning. She loves panning.
Well, you got to pan. You can't have it all. I learnt that really early on. I'd have it all in the middle. It's like, why does this sound wrong? It's like, oh yeah, I need to move things a bit.
You got yourself a mono mix, where they used to do it.
Yeah,
mono can be a thing. I've read articles about Dan Auerbach, the guy from the Black Keys. He does a lot of production, but he does all his drums mono, straight down the middle. And I've tried that before, and that just, I guess, opens everything up. Sonically opens everything up for other sounds.
What's Dragon Attack by Queen? I don't know that.
I don't know that either.
So I think we've covered recording yourself. Oh, awesome panning. Okay. So what else is in with a DIY musician? We've got. Well, I'll ask Kira what she wants to hear about. We do the videos ourselves. We do the PR side. We do the social media. Right now we're doing recording. Yeah. So, writing, obviously.
Performing.
talk about PR. It's fun. It's not. PR's not fun.
That's Helen's forte. Yeah.
It's not fun at all.
It's not.
It's best if you can hire someone, but right now that's a bit out the window. And yeah. So, for our second album, I decided to do the PR, and I gave myself a different name and a different website, and pretended to be Nell Squires. And it was really depressing because, you know, I didn't have an in with anybody. I got a few things back, but it's a lot. I think to be a PR person, you have to have really thick skin, because I think for every email every 100 emails you send out, you'll get maybe 1 or 2 replies. Yeah. But I kind of got used to, you know, not hearing back much, and now. I need to start at the beginning of this. Ask me some questions. What are the must-dos? The must-dos are gather all your assets together in one place, in a place that you can have a link that's not going to expire. The link isn't going to, you know, it's not going to be broken. So we put our stuff in Dropbox, and I leave it there forever, just in case somebody goes back to it. And I have the assets, which will be the song in MP3 form, the song in WAV form, the cover, bio, liner notes of the song. Let me have a look, actually. I'm just going to bring up one of the things. So our latest song, Missed the Start, which is out next week.
Is it?
It is. I have a link to. Yes, if you go to. Actually, I might send you the what's it called, the pre-save. Oh, okay. I've got that to talk about as well. So I've got a bio, the cover art, the lyrics, MP3, WAV file, and then you can, and liner notes if you want. But I cover that in the lyrics. So that's just, it's, you know, where it's 50-50 split. Who wrote it, that sort of thing. So I do the cover art for our. I've been doing it since which album? Since Alive and Well. I've been doing our cover art. So since 2017, 2018. I just really enjoy doing it, and I get good feedback from Paul, and between us we kind of figure it out.
Yeah. And from our managers and stuff.
Yeah, it's nice to have some. Yeah, it's nice to have that. You know, because making all those decisions on your own is hard. But if you aren't, again, I just go and look at album covers and see what I think looks good, and you know, maybe steal a few little ideas and stick them in all together. And because I'm not a graphic artist, I've never been trained in anything like that, but I enjoy Photoshop.
And I went to school for graphic
design. I know. Right?
Granted, I never finished. I got burnt out on it, but I left it for music. But it's just funny that I was the one that went to school for it, and you're the one that does the album covers. But I'm glad you do, because I have publishers that if I get a placement and they want to release a single, they're like, "Hey, send us some album art," and I'm like,
I'll do that for you if you ever want me to, because I really actually enjoy it.
Well, sometimes they do them in house, like the last one. The last one, I was like, "Can you?" Because I was just so busy with other stuff, I was like, "Can you just come up with something?" And they did. So it's not. But if there is something that's that's really pressing, I'll ask Helen.
But it's so I use Photoshop. I've got a really old version of Photoshop, and we're about to do some because we're on a really old version on my Mac, and I need to upgrade, and I'm dreading it because I use Photoshop. But what I have been using, and I don't know whether if it's still a thing, Nick Collection, NIK Collection was a plugin for Photoshop, which was free via Google some years ago, that a photographer friend told me about. And it just has it just takes a photo, and you can put some great stuff on it. If you don't have access to Photoshop, PicMonkey was a really good one. I used that when we first had to put our photos together. PicMonkey is a really good one. You've got all sorts of textures and overlays and text, and it's a really great way of turning a photo into art. And then there's all sorts of iPhone apps or phone apps which have got thing like we've got an alter ego called Faceless Arctic Hair, and I can't remember what art it was, some arty watercolor app that I took a photo of her Arctic hair and turned it into a watercolor painting.
We also have a app for our videos.
Oh, yeah.
It it's got a bunch of different filters, chromic, that you can put on your video that you record.
And you know what? I use Final Cut Pro, which has got tons of great filters, but they don't satisfy me in the same way that Chromic does. There's something that Chromic does that just is really satisfying, isn't it?
Yeah, CHROMIC.
Yeah.
And then so there's another question for the bio. Is it smart to write your own bio? I mean,
Well, I was on a thing the other day with a bunch of people, and they all said no.
yeah,
But you don't have a choice sometimes.
you don't. Our manager crafted ours, didn't he?
Well, I've changed it since because it's had to be updated, and right now we're on a little hiatus with our manager because there's nothing that we can really do together because it's that I can't do right now because I've got the time. We had managers because I didn't have the time, and now I've got lots of time.
Yeah.
So I can do that stuff, but you have to talk about yourself in the third person. It's weird. I would ask friends that like what you do to ask for them for how they describe you. And so, but that's hard.
That's a slippery slope.
It is.
With my friends.
Well, I was going to say, if you've got nice friends.
Yeah. What makes a great promo photo?
You on the beach with your dog?
I think
it
varies.
I think it's all in the post-production of it, in the editing. Like the photo, we had Karen Pantuso, who's local, who's not doing photography anymore. She did great photos for us, and it was great because she gave us them raw. So as photos, it's in post production that they pop. But she's great at getting us to look fun or having great background and stuff like that. But before the post production, they look like photos. Yeah. And then so this is where PicMonkey comes in, where
although some of them still had good, they were arranged in certain, we posed in certain ways that they look good. So it's not like you can just take a selfie or something and then turn it into the magic, but you still want good shots. But
you do. What we discovered in our last photo shoot we did was, there's two of us, and I suddenly, because most of ours were kind of flat on. And then we realized having some movement was good. So having Paul forward and me back, and I realized reaching, just something like having some sort of depth to it. Yeah. I wish we'd realized that a few years ago because it really makes a difference.
And it does. If you know somebody that's into photography, get them to take tons of photos of you and then take more, each year, just add to it. Because if you're serious about being an artist, we found that you can never have enough photos to choose from. No. And you don't want to keep reusing the same one, 10 years later. So. Well,
right now, because we're putting these singles out a month, and I thought, what am I going to do for artwork? And then I went back to loads of different photos. And what I did was I'd put I'd put double exposure on them and then a whole bunch of filters just to give them, again, some movement. But those are, I'm so grateful for all those photos that we've taken. But in the first time we took photos, we weren't in the same country.
Right.
So Paul got...
My sister-in-law took mine.
What background did we use? It was on a pale background.
I thought we used a sheet or something behind.
Must use a sheet, but you got your sister-in-law to do yours. I did mine myself, and I just set it on a timer. And I was doing so many lunges because I would lunge forward, click the thing, lunge back, and go.
And now we have remote controls for our iPhones. But.
Oh, that's just a joy.
So is it tricky to sometimes? Yeah, she finds it tricky when a promo photo doesn't represent the artist. It's too arty.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. It's like, I guess it should reflect your style in some ways. Obviously, you don't want some goth looking. We wouldn't have some goth looking photo with dark subject matter in it. And
even the graffiti one was a little bit, I felt was a little bit not quite. I love the photos, but there was some where we're up close against the graffiti, and I think it was kind of like. Yeah, we're not kind of graffiti artists. So right. It's finding what matches you. I always find a good couch, like a good kind of cool couch. Like we've been in so many dressing rooms, haven't we? where we're like, oh, I wish we had a photographer now because this is like a super cool couch.
Yeah. Yeah. So multiple bios. Yeah. I mean, you need a
Yeah.
long form and a short form.
You need your 20-word one. You need your 200-word one. And then you can have as long as you like, depending on if people are going to take the time.
Yeah, that's the thing is you don't want to go on for pages because people won't take the time. They really want the elevator pitch is what they want to see is the basics of what you're about.
Yeah, I err on shorter rather than longer. Although recently I've got a 200-word one, and I want all those 200 words because for stuff that I'm sending out for, I want them to know about the awards and the radio and I want to get it all in without just listing things.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you know somebody who writes copy, that's knows how to craft a sentence. But I think if you're a songwriter, you're probably good at crafting words.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it is tough to write about yourself sometime because you might not. It depends on your ego.
Yeah.
But if you're too humble, you want to tout yourself. You want to talk about your achievements and your awards and stuff like that. You need to include that kind of stuff. So, and how well you're doing. Encapsulating your style genre.
Ah.
Well.
Oh, that's a tricky one.
Yeah. It is.
We're folk pop.
But they always want you to know. They always want to know what your genre is
and who you sound like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every month I text Paul and say, "All right, who do we sound like, and what's the genre?" Because we're messing around with different production values.
Overall, it's pretty. So to find your genre, look up artists that you sound like. Or that you like and that you kind of model yourself after, and then see how they're listed on Apple Music or whatever, or Spotify, because it will a lot of times put like singer-songwriter or something like that.
We're always singer-songwriter, no matter what. I mean, I guess singer-songwriter encapsulates everything. It's the easiest one. It doesn't really say what you sound like, though, singer-songwriter, because it's so vast.
There is a singer-songwriter genre. There's a lot of Jack Johnson types and... I'm losing names, but it's usually a solo act.
Ed Sheeran, yeah, he's a singer-songwriter.
Yeah, it's usually a solo person, but
we say we go into folk pop or indie folk or something folk kind of, or alternative folk. Yeah, you got to old folk. Yeah, we're old folk. Old folk.
Old folk.
Sometimes it's really, when I'm submitting for stuff like Junos or stuff like that, it's really hard to find your genre. I mean, because you want to be specific, but it doesn't allow you to sometimes. So you just have to find the closest one.
Yeah. So you have all your assets together.
What do you do with them? Then that's when Google is your friend. You got to seek out the blogs. But right now, actually, getting songs to blog writers and Spotify playlists is easier than ever with Submit Hub. I think I talked about this last time, or was that at Folk Alliance?
I think it was on here.
Yeah, submithub.com. You buy a bunch of credits. It's not expensive to send stuff out. It's no more than if you in the old days sending out a letter. And you can. That's where you have your assets together. So you'll upload your song, the artwork. Write something about the song, and then who do you sound like, and what genre you are, and then you can choose if you want it to go to YouTubers or Spotify playlisters or bloggers, and then it'll match up the genre. And I found that really useful for all of these. I think I spend $30 to $40 each release just on that, and for me it's worth it because we always get something. We've got someone for the next Thursday, Paul. Yeah. There's always somebody that's for us so far. But we get a lot of declines, and you have to have a thick skin. I mean, I've asked for the feedback. You can have no feedback or feedback. And I ask for it just because I want them to think, I want them to listen to enough to think about, to have to write about it.
Yeah.
And And most of the time it's we really like it. It just doesn't fit our thing right now. A lot of times really like it. It just wasn't grabbing me like other things, and you go, oh. And
Ozzy Osbourne is a singer-songwriter, I guess. But
is he? What is that?
well, she posted that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's why I think that genre is so wide.
Well, he wouldn't on Apple Music. It would be rock.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, he's not a singer-songwriter. Is he?
Yeah, you're like I said, the Jack Johnsons of the world, and I just can't remember names right now. But
what would
there's
what
so
would
many
Sheryl,
of those
what would
indie
Sheryl
solo.
Crow be? She'd be Americana.
Should be or singer-songwriter.
Yeah. I think because they've put us into singer-songwriters because we don't fit that like Americana category. Or the album is some is Americana, some isn't. So I think singer-songwriter. That's why they've done that for us. They choose. You don't get to choose when it comes to Apple. But yes,
they choose you.
Yeah.
But be very careful about picking your genre. It's because if you get it wrong,
what are
you're going to be fired.
But
Don't put yourself as goth rock if you're not.
If you're traditional folk, they'll be confused. You can also seek out all those. I mean, I've got a massive long list of blogs and all the campus radios, like the college radio. Earshot has got a new distribution thing. You used to have to email Earshot, and now if you go to Earshot Distro, I think it is. I don't care if you could look that up. Earshot Distro. You can submit. I think it's like $7 a song. Music BC were doing a deal for Music BC members, which is why for now I can submit for free. And that gets it to not all of the college radio, but it gets it to most of the Canadian college radio.
And if you have songs recorded, get them up in digital platforms. I use TuneCore.
We use DistroKid now.
Do we?
Because
I just haven't researched other.
Well, TuneCore is for you pay for every song. DistroKid, you pay an amount for the year, and you can upload as much as you like for that year. And because we're releasing one a month, that made more sense. And I actually. Yeah. I mean, they've all got their pluses. The CD Baby, which takes a percentage rather than an upfront fee, which So there's tons of comparisons out there. If you Google which distribution company should I use, there are lots of people who have done in-depth analysis of which ones they think are best.
But if you are planning on going in the music licensing world, be careful of like TuneCore's publishing thing they offer. Don't sign it because there are a lot of music libraries out there that won't accept your music if you're signed up for TuneCore's publishing administration.
Wow. I know CD Baby do one as well. I don't know if they've got the same problem with that. I know a lot of the distributions are offering publishing. I would recommend going to publishing through a publisher, not as an add-on.
It could be good if you're not planning on branching out into publishing and you want to just try theirs, then fine. But if you are, I know Crucial Music.
Read it.
Crucial Music has a disclaimer or something saying that if you're using TuneCore's publishing administration, they won't take your song.
Yeah, well, fair enough because you can't have it. They don't want it if it's elsewhere. But I forgot about that part. So once you've got your song, you want to get it out there. So you find a distributor, and again, there's lots out there. I'm enjoying DistroKid. It's a fairly plain looking website. It's really easy. They give you a pre-save. Oh god, I'll get into that in a minute. And then, but have some lead time because especially if you want to get on Spotify playlists, you want at least I would upload it like a month before. They want it 2 weeks before to be considered for the Spotify curated playlists. And that's right on your Spotify for artists. So you got to claim your artist on Spotify. Again, there's a lot. You just Google it. It's fairly straightforward to do. I don't remember how I did it now, but it was. I think I ended up using Facebook rather than signing up. But there's lots of things that will tell you about that out there. Mm-hmm. And on Spotify itself, you can submit to the editorial playlist. They've got a new thing called Canva. Yay! Another thing. Do you know about Canva, Paul?
I don't.
So
I think
now,
I've seen the name, but I don't know about it.
Yeah. Well,
Tell us,
now
Helen.
you can have content, a video content to put out there with your song. Now, a lot of the big artists are putting their art out there. They're doing. I just find a bit of video, but it's really hard. It's a pain to do because it's not video. It's video. So now I've had to find a way of getting my. It's harder than it looks to get your video in, unless you're taking a video with your photo with your camera in that orientation. Then you have to make sure
Portrait,
but it's 9:16 is the aspect ratio. Filmora Wondershare does it because I had to do it the other day. My version of Final Cut Pro didn't because I haven't upgraded yet. So that's a whole Spotify thing to look into. And then your distributor will get it to you. I mean, you can choose the individual places you want it, or you can just say all of them, which we did.
yeah.
It might as well be everywhere.
Yeah.
Kira, you're so good at finding all these websites. Artist.spotify.com. Yeah, that's how you do it.
Spotify has a new thing. It's like a virtual tip jar kind of thing you can add as well. You can either have it, if somebody decides to leave you money, it can go to you, or you can designate a charity.
And Spotify takes none of it. And so they shouldn't. They're barely giving us anything.
Right. Yeah, what is this?
Yeah, Filmora is a good idea for video. Filmora, when it comes to... No, we don't use Patreon. We don't use it because we're not in the same city, so we can't... The level of commitment it takes to do it, we looked at it early on, but the level of commitment, it would be all me because I'm the one that does that side of things, and Paul's busy doing other stuff, and I don't... I mean, we could go back and look at it, but I think that's more.
It takes a lot of your time. I mean, if you want to grow it, it's a business in itself, and it's a lot of work.
If we did it, it would be all me, and that's not right for us because it shouldn't be all me. So I think if you're a solo performer, why not? You might as well do it, but you have to. People are expecting content, so if you're happy to kind of get on. And video yourself doing new content all the time, then I think it's great.
And it's a lengthy process doing videos.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't want us to do it because I'd want to do it properly, and I don't think while we live in different towns, I don't think we can do it properly.
Yeah, and they want like a lot of artists offer extras. Even
behind the scenes
and things like that. So you can. I mean, it's definitely worth checking out and doing. We're just too lazy.
Well, really, it's you're too busy, and we would have to be interacting so much of the time.
Yeah.
I don't think you have time for it right now. I have time.
I wouldn't get anything done. Yeah.
But I mean, if everyone wants to see just Little Lion,
I mean, you don't. It's actually all in what you put into it. They don't demand that you.
No, that's true. We could set one up and just leave it going and see what.
But if you want results, it's all what you put into it. So if you're just going to set up a page and then kind of let it slide for a while, you're going to lose.
People want the personal interaction. They want to feel like they are a special fan who has that connection with you. And we just don't like people, so that's not good. No, that's not true. We like people.
Speak for yourself, Helen.
Do people like you, though, Paul? They do. People like Paul.
That's a good question.
Everyone likes Paul. I don't know anyone that doesn't like Paul.
I could name a few.
Do you?
But I won't. I digress. My cats don't like me right now because I haven't fed them. I'm making them wait.
Get over it. I was going to talk about video because I do the videos for us. Like, Paul does all the production and I do the rest. And so you can, I was saying about Filmora is good for video. That's because Final Cut is expensive. It's a couple of $100, and it is quite involved to learn how to use. Filmora is I think it's $60 for a lifetime to that It's just a $60 thing, and it's got really cool filters, and it's got great text. So I started off by doing what they call lyric videos, and Filmora is really good for that.
I use iMovie,
and
which again is included with your Mac. So.
But I've now realized how restrictive iMovie is, because you've seen what I do now with kind of like dividing the screen up and stuff like that. So iMovie is a good place to start.
It's just like GarageBand.
Yeah. But what was I going to say? My advice for doing a video that you don't have to pay for that looks professional is go to rotorvideos.com, I think it is, ROTOR, and that has a whole bunch of videos that you can choose style, choose the videos, and it'll kind of, and then you put the song in, and it kind of matches up with the beat. So if you've got like a hard-hitting song, you'll have stuff going in your face on the beat, and so it feels like it's got that kind of professional feel. But to make it my own, I then would make it into a lyric video using Filmora, and because you can have the text in iMovie, it's really restrictive where you can put it at what point, whereas in Filmora you can put, you can have it coming in and out, and it just, there's a lot of fun stuff to play with, and it's fairly user friendly. So that's how I started, and then I just learned how to use video editing software, and I've shouted a lot at that software. But each time I use it, I learn something new. So it's
new every day.
And that's the beauty of not reading manuals, is that Paul and I, there's always something exciting. Yeah. You go, oh, I didn't know it could do that.
What the?
Because sometimes learning at your own pace, I think if you've got all the information, then you don't know what to do. When you learn, like when we were doing our last video for Enough, I wanted to cut us out to have us going through a maze, so I learned how to use masking. I'd never used masking before, and then I learned how to feather the edges of masking. But if I'd learned all of this back in, when I first had it, it would have been too much. So,
I remember doing some masking in Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator, way back in college days. And that was at the start of computers, really, like all that stuff. And then, it's tough, it's tedious. So tedious.
But I think if you're learning gradually means you've absorbed that last thing. You take that last thing on with you to the next thing. The same with Logic, same with Final Cut. And then you expand on it each time. So each time my videos feel like they're getting more complicated because I've learned a new fun thing, and I'm not learning it all at once.
Yeah, that is true. Be fearless. Just dive in. Just do it. Learn by doing.
Don't overthink. Just get. And if you
don't be an investigator too much.
Yeah, if you mess up, then you mess up. If not, it's only time you've wasted. So.
Yeah.
So, that's videos and.
There is no try, only do.
There really is. I mean, as cheesy as that is. Yeah, because when I first got Final Cut, I was looking at it going, I can't do it. It's too much. There's too many screens. And I got overwhelmed. And I thought, no, just start. Just take a breath and start. The same
just like any big project, you just have to start and put one foot in front of the other, so to speak. And
I think it's okay to feel overwhelmed, because I think that's what kind of, because that means you don't know anything yet, and then once you know stuff, you start to get a little more confident each time.
Yeah.
But we just don't. I mean, we were gonna pay for a video at one point, but there's we did pay for one video years ago.
Which one was that?
It was The Way Home. It actually ended up. It was a really cool video.
One?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But videos are so expensive. If you're a musician, and if you can get what's it called? There are some video grants out there. We've never managed to get one because they tend to give them to the people already doing really well, which is a little frustrating. Factor doesn't do video grants unless it's part of the production, and we can't apply for production because Paul's in America, so we don't get to be part of that big package. Plus, it doesn't cost Paul anything to do the production other than his time, and it's.
Yeah, so and we have a different situation. So if we got to video grant, you know, we have to do all our videos separately and then put them together, and she puts them together. Helen puts them together. So it's not like we can be in the same space for 2 days and shoot a video, you know, at the drop of a hat.
I forgot about that. We even if we had the money for a video, we can't do that. The one time we did videos together was in Nashville when we had a lovely record label who paid to have videos of us done playing live, which was very nice. But we don't have that luxury, so you have to get creative. But I will say that restriction is sometimes what leads to the creativity. If we could do anything in the world, I think I would be overwhelmed by that. But it's like, okay, we can only do this. So I can only get Paul to film on a black background or something that I can fit in. So those restrictions have meant that it's clearer what I can do.
Yeah.
What's this? There's the video on is Much Video. Is it? I want to say Much. Oh my goodness, I can't remember. I'm thinking Much Music, but it's not. But there is a video. What's it called? Grant. That is just for videos, but I've not had any luck with them. Yeah. So grant. You can get grants for marketing again with the Factor, but that is part of the whole. If you can get a grant for the whole production, you can do the marketing after that. Factor also has professional development, which we got one time, and we put our PR into that. We'd hired someone. That was great. We had a really good person for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to think of have we covered everything?
Yeah, I'm getting hungry.
Are you?
Dinner's waiting for me.
Do you need to go?
I do need to exit pretty soon.
Well, I can stay on a bit if there's any other questions, just because I know that the rest of the stuff is the stuff I do. So.
Can you? Can you handle it?
I don't know if I can handle it without you, Paul. It's always nice having you on this sort of thing because then it's a conversation. It's not just me talking to a screen. Even though I hope there are people out there watching this.
Yeah.
And taking stuff away from it, because I think I've always the mindset is share the knowledge. There's no point in hoarding knowledge. That doesn't do anybody any good. I wouldn't give out my email lists, because they've taken a long time to build up, and that's why people out there charge for their email lists of things which they shouldn't be doing. But I think, I'm happy to share anything that anybody wants to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to
say hi to
say
Jenny.
Farewell.
Farewell.
So long, farewell.
Auf Wiedersehen. Adieu.
Adieu. I was going to say goodbye. I switched it.
Adieu. To you and you. Yeah.
Well,
thanks so much, Paul.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you joining us from all the way over there.
Yeah, all the way over here.
Now get out of here.
It's getting dark. As you could tell. I'm losing my light. All right, well, thank you.
All right.
Thanks very much. Enjoy your dinner.
I'll see you soon.
Yes, indeed. Bye.
Bye.
All right, Helen.
Yeah, you can stay on there because it's horrible just looking at yourself. Apparently, that's why we get Zoom fatigue, because of looking at ourselves.
I was reading about that, and you know what I learned is that you can turn that off, so you don't have to look at yourself anymore.
But I've turned it off, and then I find myself doing things that probably don't look good on a screen, like picking my nails, or I'm like, no, I need it on there to stop myself.
Good point. Good point. Hadn't thought about that.
It is hard.
I have a couple other questions that I'll just throw at you. Beyond distribution of your music out there into the world, what about marketing yourself as a musician? So to build your audience and your fan base. So where do you start with that? Like you mentioned email lists. How important is it to have like a separate fan page or business page on Facebook or your Instagram or those kind of things? Like, how do you build up your audience and your fans and people who are going to buy that music once it's distributed or even before it's distributed? Yeah,
you do. For social media, you need the Facebook page. I mean, I hate it right now because so few people. We have like nearly 4,000 likes on our page, and our posts get shown to like a fraction, probably 300 of those. and unless we pay. And I have been doing a bit of the Facebook ads for the for new singles, because it is right now it's the only way to get people to pre-save. I didn't talk about the pre-saves. When you put stuff out, you've found your distributor, you've uploaded it, and then I use a website called ffm.to. You might want to check that, to create a pre-save, and that's a free thing. You can sign up for their other ones which give you more, but I only need it for the pre-save. DistroKid also you can do a pre-save through them, but I use FFM.
It looks like Feature FM is where ffm.to goes.
Yes.
Okay.
And then you set up a pre-save, and so there you need the IRC number. You'll find that at the place you did your distribution. They'll give you a code. So when on my DistroKid thing, I click on the song, it says IRSC code, and I copy and paste that, put it in, and so it can find that song that has already been uploaded and is waiting to go out.
Okay, so what exactly is a pre-save?
So a pre-save means it's more important for Spotify than it is for Apple. You can do it on Deezer and Tidal as well, but I don't really understand those. Apple is a pre-add. Spotify is a pre-save. What happens, you'll save it to a playlist that you have if you use those streaming platforms, and the day of release it'll automatically get played. Like, so if you're listening to that playlist, and it means the more people that are listening to on the day of release, the more chances it has of being noticed and put on another playlist.
Right. So that's like trying to do an Amazon bestseller, and you pre-sell your thing and you get it up there and you tell everybody it's coming, and then it's there and everybody's there for the first day.
And it's so tedious saying, please pre-save. So if everyone wants to go and pre-save our new song for next week,
Good job.
I can't even bother to go find the link. Anyway, if you want to, it's on. So that's why you need a Facebook page, you need your Instagram thing, Twitter if you want. We have Twitter and I put stuff on there, but I don't interact much on there.
How often do you post on Facebook and Instagram?
I try to Instagram at least once a day if I can. We had a record label guy once say to us, how long are you spending on Instagram? And I was like, I don't know. And he goes, you should be spending like an hour or so on Instagram a day. I was like, doing what? But it's preparing something and looking at what other people are doing, being engaging in what other people are doing. It can be really tiring. Right now I have the time to do that stuff. It is really, you have to want to do it. It's hard.
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram's more about the images. Like I'll post the cats or something like that, and I'll post all the information on there. Like if we've got a concert coming up, pre-save, some new artwork, and the same with Facebook, linking just like today. I didn't even acknowledge that with Paul. It's the anniversary of us doing our last gig, so luckily we videoed that last gig, so I found some video from that and posted that, and
Do you notice you get different response if you post something that's like the cats, or it's a selfie of you, or it's like an archive photo or anything like that? Are you able to notice any kind of difference in response or reaction?
Yeah, if we're putting stuff out, if it's got a link, I don't know about the response. If it's got a link, it gets very little. It gets shown to very few people. Facebook doesn't like outside links. So if it's YouTube or the pre-save link, so what I then try and do is take a picture of the pre-save link and just put the link in the thing. But even with that, if I post a picture of the cat or us doing stupid faces, that gets loads of.
Catch the walls.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it's but you've got to figure it out for yourself. You got to spend time noticing what is interesting and what isn't, and then do more of that. And if we've been nominated for something, I will always post just a photo and the nomination. I won't post any links because, again, as soon as you post a link, it gets seen. But the more people that comment, the more people that comment, the more people see it. So I always reply to the comments, because if I reply to the comments, then it'll get seen by more people. And you're trying to build that up. And the same with Instagram. I've tried TikTok. Oh, sorry. I've tried TikTok. That's difficult for Paul and I in the same way that Patreon is, because it would be all me, because we're not in the same place. So what I do for that is I take video of my cats doing dumb things and I put a piece of our music to it. So, and then hashtag it with the kittens, cute kittens doing things. And that's just a way of getting people to hear our music. But I can't invest it in the way some musicians have invested, because it's usually a solo artist and it's about them. Mother have done that really well, but again, I think they're all in the same place. Yeah, it's how much time in the day you've got to devote to social media, but it is a big part of it, especially now that we can't reach people personally.
Okay, so on that note, while there's not a ton of live gigs happening, although nicely here in BC, where you're able to do 10 people outdoors again which is nice. So little mini concerts are possible, but now I think would be a really good time to start preparing and getting your act together for those sort of festival applications and stuff like that. So you got any tips on that kind of stuff? Because it's going to be able to happen again eventually.
What you need for festival applications, you need good video of yourself playing. I mean, just try, and if you haven't played out before, you're not ready for festivals. So that's just, you have to, if you want to do festivals, you really have to have an album out. They tend to book people who have a current album. So yeah, when it comes to festival applications, and it depends where you are in the game.
Is there one place or a couple sites where you can go to find the festivals, or you just have to Google the crap out of it?
I think there used to be a BC music magazine, which I think is archived still online, and that had a list of them, which was a fairly comprehensive one. It was really good because it did it by BC region, and those were BC festivals. The other ones, you just have to Google festival, and some sites will give you them all. And again, over time, you just build up a list. I've got a big list of festivals, and what I do is on Facebook. One of the reasons I spend a lot of time on Facebook is I find information. People will say, I'm playing this festival, and I'll go, oh, I didn't know about that one. And I'll go investigate it and put the details into my list and just keep growing that list. Oh, when it comes to email sign-up lists, I mean, that's... I don't pay we still use our email list and we send it out. We don't have the interaction that we used to have, because before social media, that's how people would interact on email. It's still important to have an email list, which we do have, and we have on our website. The first thing is sign up for our email newsletter and get a free download. What do you use, like MailChimp or something like that, or are you a Bandzoogle person or a Bandcamp or what? Yeah, we use Bandcamp is just we have our music on Bandcamp just because you should. I use Bandzoogle for the website because you can sell your music from there directly and they don't take anything from it. I really like that about it. I use MailChimp for mailing out because it's a good way of, they have good templates for sending out a nice looking email with not too much stuff on it. So I send one out for the pre-save, and I send one out when the song's out, and you can put links on there and photos, but I don't hear much back from people on email just because people don't tend to communicate that way anymore.
Do you find do you get, or are you able to track any sales conversions that come out of your emails? Do you have that set up to do?
Not from the emails, because that's no, I haven't looked, so I don't know. I don't pay as close attention to it as I probably should. Some people are really into the statistics. Sometimes I don't want to be overwhelmed by statistics because I feel like I'm doing as much as I possibly can, and it's like what else can I do? But yeah, okay. But I can always learn as well.
So here's the big question: are people buying music?
We don't know. For our stuff, people tend to stream it. We have a really weirdly large demographic of teens to over 60s. So ours is really spread out because it's not like traditional folk where you'd have one thing, and it's not pop, so you'd have the young people. So our demographic's a bit weird.
So how do you make money then as a musician? What are your options really?
Well, I mean, people are streaming it, and we do get money from that, and people are on Apple Music are buying it, and we get money from that.
Promoting your Fridays on Bandcamp and hoping people get with that.
And people do buy from that from time to time. I don't get an influx of people buying it. I don't push the Bandcamp thing as much as I should, and I probably should. It's so hard finding a balance of what to push, because you don't want to be in people's faces all the time, because I read a thing once saying, be interesting and be interested. So we want the content out there, but we also need to put other stuff out there, and you don't want to be bombarding people with stuff all the time. And it's really hard to know what to put out all the time. We make our money right now. Most of our money comes from licensing and the back end and SOCAN.
So watch the video from a couple of weeks ago. I'll put it in the bottom of the video.
What's
here.
The video from a couple of weeks ago? Oh, right. Enough. I can give you a link if you want. Let's see if I can find.
I got it. I got that one.
You got that one? Okay.
Yeah. I want people to watch the licensing that we did the other week too. The licensing talk that you gave us.
Oh, right.
Where there's lots of good tips in that one. So I will put the link to that in the bottom of this video when we're done.
Well, it's funny. Because I just went to my timeline of. I have a timeline of things to when to put them out, and I have all the important links. I have my pre-save link, my YouTube link, my Dropbox link, my SoundCloud. People want, when you're sending to blogs and stuff like that, a lot of them want SoundCloud because it's just an easy way of listening to a song. Some people don't want to go to a download link.
Right.
So those are the 4 links I have. That I always have those, and then what's my timeline? Just give people a quick single to DistroKid. Send your music to music.library@cbc.ca.
Oh, the good homeboys.
I should have come to this immediately. So set music.library@cbc.ca. If you go to, oh my goodness, I'm going to find a link for you, because this gives you details. I can't go in chat here, can I? Private. I'll do it in private chat. I can do it in private chat. This tells you how to submit to CBC.
Okay, great.
And then what's my timeline? So then I submit to the Spotify curator. I make the Canva. I make the pre-save.
Okay, stop one sec. The Canva.
You know what? Forget the Canva. It's
I just want to clarify for people, because the Canva in Spotify is not the same as canva.com, where you can make graphics and stuff for yourself.
No,
I was like,
is it Canva? Maybe it's Canvas in Spotify. No, I think it's Canva. Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, but that's not a crucial part. That's something later on if you want to play around with. Make the pre-save. I put the pre-save on socials. I send the pre-save to the email list. I upload the video to YouTube and make it unlisted so that I can send it out to blogs and they can still see it. Yep. I then send to the PR list and radio list that I've got, and then I put a teaser song of the video out. Teaser of the song, stroke video, just a little snippet onto. Do
you use anything like Audiogram or a Headliner or anything like that to make those, or do you make them yourself?
I've got Final Cut, so it's easy. It's easy to make. Oh, I should look at those. See, and then I send out the release to the email list, and on the day, and then Earshot, and then on the day of, I update everything. Remind CBC.
So should we be paying you to get that list for people? I think we should.
No, I mean, it's again over time. It's just you should have a timeline, because so many times I've gone, I forgot to upload to blah blah blah, and so that was through the help of our managers. We finally came up with the timeline of when to do things. Otherwise, you go crazy trying to remember it all. I just have a numbers spreadsheet which has all these tabs of contacts, important links, CBC, Earshot, Roots Music, US Radio, and then timeline. And then on the day of, it's like change our website, update the website, remind CBC, put it on Bandcamp, premiere the video, schedule a video, and then pitch the next single to Spotify. Because then I'm on to the next single. Because this is the monthly releases, though.
So have you been doing a monthly release? I'm tired hearing about it. Have you been doing a monthly release like this whole pandemic? Is that been your sort of protocol?
Well, we did a pandemic album in July, and then in September we started doing the monthly, because we thought, well, the album cycle's out the window. We always get frustrated that we couldn't put music out regularly. So we're like, so it gives me something to do. I've got something to do now all the time.
Sounds like it.
I mean, last week I was like, I didn't have a video. And I was like, I've got a video and it's out in 2 weeks. What am I going to do? And then Trevor and I, my husband and I, happened to be up the mountain. And I went, okay, there's a couch here. It looks like a cool couch. I'm going to video me playing the song. So my husband's in next week's video.
Aw, it's nice.
Well, it's a love song, but Paul and I can't be in love songs together. It's, it's not right.
Right.
It's too weird.
Well, I would say you have given us a massive wealth of information today. You and Paul, thank you so much. I would like to let you go and have dinner.
Okay, well, thank you. It's nice to feel like I know stuff.
Do this again sometime. But,
sure, anytime. I'm always open to this sort of thing.
I do, and we so appreciate that. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, we'll keep everybody posted if we do this, or maybe people would like to request something that they'd like to learn about. And well, thank you again very much. And this has been Comox Valley Arts, and you can find us at comoxvalleyarts.com for lots of other upcoming workshops and things. Thank you very much. Have a lovely evening.
Bye.
Bye.